Coach, Detroit has 76 points in the paint and 28 points off of those turnovers. Can you just kind of talk about those areas and what Detroit was doing, and even that final battle?
Yeah, I mean, you do have to credit Detroit. They do play with the physicality and quickness. They play the passing lanes. Those can be deflating plays when it ends up being a pick six. And then they're relentless on their drives. Defensively for us, it just felt like we were on our heels and passive, for the majority of the night. There was a segment with our second unit where they really kind of changed the feeling of the game for 5 minutes, 6 minutes. And then those last 5 minutes, not necessarily, because they were up or relaxed, you could just see us, scrambling, really making plays and doing things with incredible urgency. But that's our identity. That has to be, and it has been, quite frequently, who we've been. But that wasn't enough, tonight. Offensively, I thought we adjusted to their physicality as the game went on, but defensively, it just took us a long time to be aggressive, and that might not have done enough to secure the win. But you just want to see, more minutes of the game where you're playing closer to your identity.
Obviously, when some guys were starting off a little slow, Wiggins really was kind of that steady presence throughout the game. Can you just kind of talk about just the fit of him tonight?
Yeah, I think he made the adjustment, to how aggressive they were. It helped he was knocking down shots, but he was aggressive in transition on his catch-and-go drives. He was assertive, really finishing with force at the rim, which you need to do, or, make the appropriate plays. Like I said, offensively, I think we adjusted as the game went on after the first quarter, with their physicality, other than the turnovers, taking care of the ball and making those reads versus their denials. We didn't do a good job with that. But Detroit, showed us, why they've been number one in the East so far. We've been an up-and-coming team, but that was a different level for, big parts of the game.
Erik, is the last 8 minutes just yet another reminder that nothing's ever done in this league anymore? Like 22 became 2 like nothing, it seems.
Yeah. We've been on both ends of that. And that's, to my point, is, that type of aggressiveness defensively, that's been us when we're at our best, making plays and, at times, you're scrambling so hard that, you get burned on a couple things, but that's been our identity. And, us scrambling and being way more aggressive was protecting the paint way more than us being passive. So it's kind of an interesting dichotomy there. The more aggressive we are, you feel like maybe you're going to give up more things at the rim or more at the paint, but that hasn't been the case, with us. But I think their force on both ends of the court kind of flattened us out, that aggressiveness. And sometimes you just need to see what it is, to be able to take that next step, and we saw what it was. We felt what it was. We felt it when we weren't being physical or being aggressive defensively.
Nico's a player who confidence plays a lot into his game. He just seemed off.
I don't buy into that. I think okay. That is a narrative that's out there. Look, he needs to get in better rhythm. He needs to put in some work. He'll be just fine. But the more you put into it, and he was sidetracked a little bit with his injury. But it's the attention to detail, it's the work ethic every single day. has to be, consistent, and he'll get there. He'll get in better rhythm. It's not easy to jump into a game that's as intense as this and as physical, and where you have to be in rhythm, and he hasn't really fully practiced. He did, what we did yesterday, but that was a lot of, detail work. He just needs to get into the work, get into the process, and he'll be fine.
There's a lot of matchup manipulation happening from Detroit, stemming from what Davion was doing on Cade. And then what were you getting out of Davion during that comeback? And then what did Cade do on those last two possessions to kind of absorb the pressure?
He is, it's impressive the jumps that he's been making. He plays at his pace where you can't really speed him up. I know we forced him into 8 turnovers, but it looks like he's not going full speed, and then he's blowing by, good defenders. He's just very shifty. He knows how to use his speed and change speeds. He's big. So he if he gets a shoulder on you, he's getting to the spot where he wants to get to. And that's why our aggressiveness, has to overcome, the skill set and the talent and size that he has. All right, thank you.